Welcome back to another Arkansas football recruiting report with the one, the only, you know who he is, you love him, Otis Kirk. Thanks for joining us this week, Otis. But I before we get onto the recruiting side of things, I do want to talk with you about fall camp. Everyone has been so
Oh yeah.
excited to see these guys in action officially. It feels like football is right around the corner. What have you seen so far from this football team in just the few days we've been to fall camp?
Right. And I'll say this in relative. We've seen two practices. It's Sunday, but we haven't. One today will be after we've recorded it. So they're in shorts and stuff, but some things that have really, I tell you what, I'm impressed with, and it's part of it's on the field, but the confidence from the coaches and players that we've heard from in the locker room. I mean, not the locker, I mean the interview room, not the locker room. Courtney, in the past, I've listened, and we hear this every year that we're going to be good. This is our year. It's not going to be like last year. But in the past, I really let some of that go in one ear and out the other. They were 2-10. It was not going to be another 2-10 season. Well, it was another 2-10 season. I don't think they. I know, and they're not going to get up there, and they shouldn't get up there and say we're going to be two. But I don't think players even believe what they were saying. And I wasn't. Now I didn't see the confidence then, and I see now, and rightfully so. You know, you win 3 games in the SEC 2 years ago, 3-7. That's not that impressive till you look at they'd won one SEC game the 3 previous seasons. They won 3 in one season. Then you come back last year and you go 9-4 and you bounce out, win the bowl game. And now you see confidence, and it's easier to believe of KJ Jefferson, Sam Pittman, Jimmy Smith, Rocket Sand, whoever, when they get up there, because I think that in Bumper Pool, I think when Bumper says, because Bumper's been here,
Yeah.
he's a guy that's been here through this all. He's seen the 2-10. He's been to 2-10. Bumper's been to 3-7. So Bumper is a good gauge on all this. And when I see Bumper talk, I don't see Bumper. I see a lot of confidence in Bumper Pool. Not saying he wasn't confident before, but he can only control so much.
Hmm.
I think Bumper and KJC stuff and their teammates that maybe others didn't see before. And so there, and Sam Pittman has sold an ideal here with this program. And I think the players and the fans and everybody's bought into what he's selling, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Like I said, he took a team 3-7 and fought every COVID issue. I mean, fought every issue of seeing his players, getting to know his players, a new coach, went through all that and still went 3-7. Not impressive till you look at they won one game in the SEC the previous 3 seasons. Then he comes back, kind of gets back to a little bit of normalcy here with COVID and all this stuff, and they go 9-4. So now they expect to win over there, and I believe it when they get up there and say that.
Yeah, and I do
That
too.
hasn't always been the case, Courtney. I'm sorry if maybe I'm a negative nanny. I don't know, but I'm just saying that wasn't always the case. I'd hear them, and I'd almost roll my eyes when I heard them say that we're not going to be 2-10. It's going to be different this year. Go out there and it was the same thing, and it's not a knock on the players. It's just it took more than one or two players. It took more than KJ Jefferson and Bumper Pool to turn this thing around. It took a plan from the head coach. It
Yeah.
took a plan on hiring a staff. It took a plan on recruiting the right people. It took a plan on retaining the KJs, the Bumpers, the whoever's, and getting Jaden Hazelwoods, Drew Sanders, the Matt Landers,
Yeah.
Dwight McLaughlin, Landon Jackson's in here. Sam sold Felipe Franks. I don't think we'll ever credit that kid enough for what he did for this program for only 1 year. So I think, but it took Sam Pittman putting this piece. It's like a puzzle. You've got 1,000 pieces to a puzzle, and you don't put them together. It's just a mess. It's just a cluster. You get a guy that knows how to put the puzzle, piece by piece together, and then when you get made, it's a pretty thing. And that's what Sam's done with this football program. Like
Yeah.
he took a puzzle that was all messed up, thrown around. Part of the pieces were, I think, some of the pieces were missing from the puzzle. Sam found those missing pieces. Maybe they were in his jukebox. I don't know where they were at.
Maybe they
Sam
were.
found pieces, and he put them out there. And or maybe when he put that jukebox and moved it around, he found the pieces underneath it.
Yeah, maybe some of
But anyway, no, seriously, I think it all starts with Sam Pittman, but it doesn't end with Sam Pittman. It's the players, the assistant coaches,
Hmm.
the the grad assistants, the part-time assistants, whatever they call the guy, the volunteer, the other people, not just it's a whole program over there. It's the trainers, it's Jamil Walker, I mean, it's all of them.
Yeah,
And
it is.
it started at the top and it's going all the way to the bottom. And that's why I think you see the confidence that's there now. And I think it's justified. Yeah, I picked them to go 9-3. Will they go 9-3? See, I can't tell you, I can't assure
Mm,
you that KJ Jefferson's going to play 13 games this year. I can't assure you that Bubba Poole is going to be healthy all season.
right.
I can't do that. So that's prediction may or may not come true. But when I make a prediction, it's all based on what I see at that time. Like I said, if KJ gets hurt the third game of the season or first game,
Well, yeah,
he's out for the season. I mean, 9-3 is probably not going to happen.
right,
It may, but it may not. But that changes the whole outlook.
right.
I'm saying, and that's why I like what I see. What you asked me, what I like, what I see to this point. Yes, it's 2 practices. Yes, it's in short. Yes, we'll go out there today and it still won't be full pads. But I like what I've seen, and I can compare it to the practices that I've seen. I moved here in '97, so I've seen a lot of first 2 practices.
Oh, yeah.
And this team has a confidence. They have an organization, a attitude, whatever you want to call all of that, and more of what I think is a winner. I really will be surprised if this is not a very good football season. Now, very good to Courtney may not be what very good to Otis calls or what the people listening. Everybody's got an opinion. That's a loose term when you say very good. But I do think it's going to be something. And I do believe when Bumper Pool says to the reporters, it's different. And it's what he
Hmm.
tells. So I believe that's probably going to happen, or at least it has a chance to happen. Whereas
Yeah.
before, I didn't always believe it even had a chance to happen. So, guys like Bumper and these guys, and even these offensive linemen Stromberg's been through a lot.
Yeah. Well, Otis, I mean, you talk about confidence. I mean, you can see it. I mean, this has been my first fall camp here, and I'm even noticing the confidence. It's like, wow, this team feels just different. It's just a different vibe out there, and that's something that you just can't write about, that you can't put into words, that you can't really even show with video. It's kind of you have to be there to see that confidence and hear them in the press conference to know that they truly, truly believe that this is going to be such an incredible year for them. And you can't help but believe them as well. But Otis, I want to talk to you about something that Pittman said. I believe it was on Wednesday. He made this statement. Somebody asked him, is this team bigger and faster? And he said, for sure. They're definitely bigger and faster and even stronger. And part of that has been because we've recruited guys who are bigger and faster. Do you see that being a trend for this team that even in 2023, 2024, they're going for guys who are bigger and faster?
You won't see him go to war with 270-pound offensive linemen. They don't even recruit those guys much anymore. But unless they know they're 6'5", 6'6", and they can put on a lot of weight. But what I'm saying, he got here. Myron Cunningham was probably 270, 275. You can't win the SEC with offensive linemen. They're going to get pushed around. But yeah, they've gotten bigger, they've gotten stronger, they've gotten faster, and that was all part of playing with Sam. And that's something he looked at. That's probably the first thing he looked at with this program. As I said, when he got here, he could see him few weeks, few months before they had the COVID. I think that was in March, if I'm not mistaken, the COVID shutdown stuff.
Yeah.
So he got to see him from December when he was hired. I know he's out on recruiting quite a bit till till early February, late January, but he got to see him for a month or two. And I think the biggest thing with Sam was just the size of this team. He knew you've got to get bigger and you've got to have speed in the SEC. Every coach, Chad Morris got up there and said, if you don't have speed in the SEC, you're chasing speed. All of them talk it, but Sam has gone out and done it. He's gone out and got faster players, and he has a plan. And 9 wins will do that for you, Courtney.
Yeah, well,
Even Sam, if he sits there and has a plan and he has a theory and he sells
mm,
these guys, if they go out there and they go 3-9 or 2-10, they're going to start thinking, here we go again. We in the media think, here we go again.
yeah.
When you go 9-4, but you've got to get bigger, stronger, faster in the SEC, and that will always be a goal of Sam. I think the biggest thing that ever helped, and he may disagree with this.
Hmm.
I haven't talked to Sam about this particular subject, but I think the biggest thing that ever helped Sam Pittman as a head coach was going to Georgia for 3 or 4 years,
Yeah,
learning under Kirby Smart.
I agree.
He learned under other great coaches along the way. He was at OU. He's been in a lot of great places. But I think what Kirby learned from Nick Saban, you can say what you want about Saban, people can. You can call him whatever you want, dislike him, love him, dislike him. That's fine. But you got to respect what that guy does.
Hmm.
I mean, he's the top of the line, Nick Saban. And Kirby Smart learned from him. And Sam is a better coach today because he went to Georgia for those years and learned under Kirby. And he uses a lot of things that Kirby Smart does.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he does everything that Kirby Smart does. He doesn't. But I think what Sam did, he took the best of Kirby that he liked and tried to build, and then put in his stuff with it. You put his touch with it. And I think that's made Sam the coach he is today. I really
Yeah.
think.
I mean, he talked about that. He talked about that the other day, Otis. Remember? He was, talking about, which was a coach that you felt like you learned the most from. He said, hands down, Kirby.
Oh, yeah. And if he got the head coaching job when he was here before, if he had not left and they'd given him the job when Chad Morris got it after Bielema got fired, I don't think he's been as good a coach today as he is. I think he learned a lot of things under Kirby that made him better. I see that influence, but I knew Sam well when he was here.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy. I had great dealings with Sam, but I have noticed a lot of the things that he does now a little bit different than, and he's a head coach opposed to assistant. So I get some things will be different. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some of his philosophies have taken the Kirby Smart approach.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best thing that ever happened to Sam as a head coach. And I think it also allowed him to get to know guys like Jimmy Smith, Scott Fountain, people that he might not have gotten to know had he not gone to Georgia. He's got a lot of he's got to know a lot of high school coaches in Georgia that he would not have known as well. So Sam has built off of that Georgia experience and brought a lot of to Arkansas. And it's made Sam a better coach, a much better head coach, and it's made Arkansas a much better program. I really believe that. And I'm not trying to overhype Sam. I mean, people got own opinion. I'm just telling you what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've been here since Danny. Well, I was covered. Well, I mean, when I moved up here, Danny Ford was the head coach. I was involved with the program long before that. Was since Lou Holtz,
Yeah.
Kenny Hatfield. So Jack Pro. I've seen them all. But but I'm telling you, Sam is so organized and got a plan. I think everything Sam does, he has a reason for doing it.
Yeah, he definitely does.
About every coach, Courtney, even some successful coaches. If everything he does, I think there's a reason for why he does it. Now, is he perfect? No, he's going to do some things that's not going to be right. He has a reason for doing it. It's kind of like I talked about that prediction. You have a reason for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Things may change later, or it may not come to true, but you have a reason. You've got to be organized and have a plan in this business, whether you're the head coach or wherever. But as a head coach of the big organization, a business, basically a big business like the University of Arkansas, you better have a plan. You better be organized. That's part of what it takes.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head with that. But we got to talk, since this is the football recruiting report, Otis, we got to talk a little bit about recruiting. So what's next? Can you give us an update on that class of 2023?
Yeah, I tell you what's going to happen. It's changed a lot when they removed the 25 limit. They're letting Arkansas recruit to the 85 limit now. So overall. And so what I'm saying is, I think high school wise, Bison Lane from Pike Road in Alabama, big offensive lineman. I want to say he's a 4-star with some services. But Bison Lane is one to watch. He will officially visit for the Alabama game. If he doesn't announce before then, I think he will after that. They may not be a whole lot else on the high school ranks in 2023. Now, that's not to say if they find a kid in Arkansas or somewhere else that maybe flew under the radar and they get video and they watch him and they, that kid's too good to turn down. But they've got some leeway because now you're recruiting to the 85. Well, let me make that. I know people get confused with all 25, 85.
Right.
Here's the deal. Used to you were limited to 25 years. Now, if you're 30 under the 85, used to you could sign 25. So you were going to still be, you were going to be 5 under anyway, unless you gave it to walk-ons who'd been there over a year. But now you don't have to do that. You can give 30 scholarships. Feel like Eric Musselman can give 13 a year in basketball.
Right.
Okay, he had 2 returnees, so he gave 11 new ones. He's not limited to a yearly amount. And that's what I'm saying about Sam. Now he's not limited to a yearly amount. So if they get down, let's say to 55 players after this season, for kids going to the NFL, the transfer portal, injuries. We had one retire the other day, Dax Courtney, who will be successful in life. Then they can sign 30 kids, okay? Then you would go to the transfer portal and probably fill out the majority of what's left in the class of 2023, 7 or 8 kids. If they get down to 50 kids and you got 35, you might see them go sign 10 or 15 kids from the portal, depending on what their needs are. And people ask me all the time about quarterback, Courtney. I mean, I think a lot depends on, there's a lot of factors when you talk about quarterback. They've got Malachi Singleton. I think he's the best high school quarterback for Kendall Briles' offense in the country.
Wow.
I do. I think he's the best in the country. 4-star, I don't care about that. He's better than for Arkansas's offense, he's better than the 5-star that visited earlier. But what will they do? What if, here's a scenario, okay? What if KJ goes pro after this year? What if Malik gets out to wide receiver, falls in love with it, and said, man, I can be a first-round draft choice in a year or 2?
Yeah.
What if that happens? Okay, then you've got Malachi and you've got Kate Fortin and Cade Renfro. Then you're probably going to see Arkansas go to the transfer portal and probably sign a quarterback.
Right.
But what if KJ comes back? What if Malik Hornsby stays a quarterback? Then that all take. So that's why you can't say, I think they'll take a transfer quarterback or I don't. You don't know yet. There's too many scenarios. And that's what's going to happen at all these positions. People love quarterback talk. But what they're going to do, they're going to look at the end of the season, who transfers, who goes pro early, what positions weren't as good as we thought they'd be. Did Drew Sanders stay 1 year at linebacker and go to the NFL, or is he going to come back for another year after?
Right.
So those are a lot of things. That's why you can't say right now. People ask me, well, what will they take out of the portal? They don't know yet. Jaden Hazelwood, Matt Landers. I mean, you've got to see how the portal is made more for you seeing how it plays, the season plays out. Now with that said, if in 2023, what if some kid after May, they can't go to the portal now and play this year? Well, what if some kid in Alabama, I'm just using Alabama, say Texas. What if some kid next week or in 2 weeks or 3 weeks when Nick Saban or Jimbo Fisher announce a depth chart and that kid's unhappy with his position and he leaves and transfers? See, Arkansas could jump on that kid.
Yeah.
Play this year, but they could bring him in, Courtney. And Sam talked about this. Sam could bring that kid in, let him redshirt, let him be in the program, let him practice, let him learn how, go to meetings, let him get a situation, let the coaches see him for the fall, the spring.
Yeah.
Anything. All this portal stuff is up in the air, and it will stay up there. That's just the portal life. You don't know how many Arkansas are going to enter.
Yeah, you'll have to ask us next year what that looks like, right?
When we did this show during this, if we were talking earlier, Courtney, I would have thought Joe and Greg were going to leave. I mean, who thought Mike Woods was going to leave the year before? I mean, till it happened, or who thought Jaden Hazelwood would lead OU in catches and then touchdowns, catches, and then leave. So you don't know. The portal is always a mystery. And that's what makes it so interesting.
That is what makes it so interesting.
Because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know how many Arkansas are leaving. You don't know how many are coming in. Or what you're going to need. And so that's why this is so going to stay that way. Eric Musselman, a year ahead of time, doesn't know necessarily what he's going to need from the portal.
Nope.
David Horn doesn't know. I mean, a year ahead of time, he'll know. There's some obvious things. Like if you've got all but 2 seniors in outfield, you're going to need outfield.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is all this portal stuff, no matter the sport, and I'm not trying to venture into those sports. What I'm saying is no matter the sport, portal is always kind of a revolving process. You never
It
know who's
is.
and I get asked about quarterback all the time. That's why I brought that up. And there are so many scenarios there. KJ goes, KJ stays, Malik goes, Malik stays at wide receiver. God, I mean, it's just so many things.
Yeah.
You know, how much, I mean, there's just so many.
So many scenarios. So we're gonna have to check in at a later date on that question.
It's a week to week thing,
A
month to
week
month.
to, a week to week thing, exactly. A week to week
I
thing.
mean,
And
month to
month to
month.
month, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, more like a monthly update on that. But before you go, Otis, we're running out of time here today. But before you go, we got some high school games to watch out for, right? Some guys playing in those that we need to look out for
Yeah,
recruiting, right?
I just want to tell you about three Oklahoma kids. There's three kids in the 2023 class from Oklahoma are committed to Arkansas, Courtney. On the 26th, that's a Friday night, Micah Tees and Booker T. Washington
Oh
will be
yeah.
at Bentonville West. 1 week later, on the September the 2nd, the night before the Cincinnati game. So fans that listen to this us play, not necessarily live in Northwest Arkansas, you go for Harbor will host Bixby. And we know Dylan and Luke, the twins from Bixby, will be in that game. So there's a chance to see three kids from Oklahoma in 2023 are committed to Arkansas right here in Northwest Arkansas 2 weeks in a row. If that's a chance to get out and see some good football right there, and not just counting Bentonville West as Lane Jeff Code, you know. So I mean, there's some local kids to watch too. It's not just them. And that September the 2nd night is going to be loaded because Shiloh hosts Little Rock Christian, Fayetteville hosts North Little Rock, and Bentonville hosts Conway. Those are
Ooh.
all Division One Arkansas commitments. Players. Those are some great games to watch those weekends. So football is coming on, high school football, and there's going to be some good. You don't even have to leave this area to watch a lot of it those first 2 weeks.
You absolutely don't. Well, thank you so much, Otis, for joining us this week. Make sure you tune in next Sunday for another Arkansas football recruiting report with Otis. Thanks so much, Otis.
Thanks, Courtney. I appreciate you.
Bye.
Talk to you. See you later.